In the dead of night, a single flickering screen illuminates a dusty room, code scrolling impossibly fast. This is where our story begins, with a message that shouldn't exist, from a sender who's been gone for years. My brother, Alex, a brilliant programmer, vanished without a trace 5 years ago. Tonight, his signature encryption key just unlocked my terminal. The message was simple: find the archive. They're watching. My heart hammered against my ribs. Who are they? What is the archive? The message came with a single file, a fragmented map of the city's old subway system with a location circled in digital red. I grabbed my jacket and a burner phone. The city at 3 a.m. is a different beast, a concrete jungle of shadows and secrets. The abandoned subway entrance was exactly where the map said it would be, sealed with a rusted gate. A keypad glowed next to it, dark and unassuming. I recognized the interface Alex's design. The passcode, it had to be the day he disappeared. I keyed in the date, a low hydraulic hiss, and the gate slid open, revealing a descent into utter darkness. My phone's flashlight cut a weak beam into the gloom. The air was cold, thick with the smell of damp earth and something else, ozone. The tunnel walls were covered in strange, glowing symbols, pulsing with a faint blue light. They weren't graffiti, they looked like circuit boards embedded in the concrete. As I ventured deeper, a low hum vibrated through the soles of my shoes. I followed the humming, which grew louder, leading me to a massive, circular chamber. In the center stood a colossal server rack, unlike anything I'd ever seen. It was the archive, and it was active, wires snaked from it, burrowing into the very rock of the cavern. Screens flickered, showing not code, but what looked like live feeds of the entire city, every street corner, every home, every person. It was a surveillance network of unimaginable scale. A voice, synthesized and cold, echoed from hidden speakers. Identity confirmed. Welcome back, Alex. It mistook me for my brother. Before I could process this, a new window popped up on the main screen. Protocol Chimera. Activation in 60 minutes. I had no idea what Protocol Chimera was, but it sounded catastrophic. Suddenly, footsteps echoed from the tunnel behind me. Not the slow, cautious steps of an explorer, but the heavy, rhythmic march of trained operatives. I ducked behind the server as 3 figures in tactical gear swept into the chamber, their weapons equipped with laser sights that sliced through the darkness. "The anomaly is here," one of them said into his radio. "Secure the archive." I was the anomaly. They weren't here for a rescue, they were here to protect this machine. I had to find a way out, and a way to stop that countdown. I spotted a maintenance terminal on the far side of the server. If I could reach it, maybe I could find out what Protocol Chimera was, or even shut it down. It was a long shot, but it was the only shot I had. I created a distraction, throwing a loose piece of rock down a side tunnel. As they moved to investigate, I sprinted for the terminal. My fingers flew across the keyboard, Alex's coding lessons flooding back to me. Accessing the core files, I found it. Protocol Chimera wasn't a weapon, it was a data purge. It was designed to erase specific individuals from every digital record on the planet, their bank accounts, their social security, their very existence. And the target list, it was massive, thousands of names, including journalists, activists, and scientists. Alex's name was on it, crossed out, and right at the top of the list was a new entry, added just moments ago: mine. They weren't just watching, they were erasing. I initiated a system override, a desperate gambit to stall the countdown. Alarms blared, red lights flashing throughout the chamber. The operatives were on me in an instant. I dodged behind the server rack just as a volley of shots sparked against the metal. The override was working, but it was slow. I needed more time. Looking at the screen, I saw another of Alex's backdoors, a network bridge. He had a way to transfer the data, not just the target list, but the entire archive. All the proof, it was insane. The data size was astronomical. But there was one destination pre-configured, labeled simply, the world. It was a decentralized broadcast protocol. If I hit send, this would go everywhere, the whole world would see. But sending the data would also pinpoint my exact location to everyone on their network. It was a trade, my life for the truth. The operatives were closing in, trying to flank me. I had seconds to decide. I looked at the screen, at the list of names, of people who would be wiped from existence. I thought of Alex, who must have built this escape route for a reason. With my heart pounding, I hit execute. The upload process began, a progress bar starting to fill. The operatives opened fire, and I scrambled away, the server taking the hits. The whole structure groaned under the assault. Sparks flew, and one of the main cooling units exploded, spewing liquid nitrogen across the floor. The chamber started to freeze over. The upload was at 50%. I had to keep them busy. I grabbed a loose power cable, thick as my arm, and ripped it from the wall. I whipped it towards a puddle of water near the operatives. Electricity arced, and they scrambled back, momentarily stunned. 70%. The lead operative recovered, raising his weapon. There was nowhere left for me to run. The room was a chaotic mess of smoke, flashing lights, and the deafening sound of alarms. 90%. Just as he was about to fire, the entire system surged. The glowing symbols on the walls flared with blinding intensity. The main screen went black, then displayed a new message in Alex's familiar green font. "Nice one, little brother. Now run." The main doors to the chamber began to close. The upload completed. "Broadcast successful," the synthesized voice announced calmly. The operatives ignored me, turning their attention to the main console, frantically trying to stop the data stream. This was my chance. I bolted for a small ventilation shaft I'd noticed earlier. It was a tight squeeze, but it was my only way out. I crawled through the dark, metallic tunnel, the sounds of the chaos in the chamber fading behind me. After what felt like an eternity, I kicked out a grate and tumbled onto a deserted subway platform, to levels above the archive chamber. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer. I checked my burner phone. It was flooded with notifications. News alerts, social media trends. It was all about the archive leak. The truth was out. But so was my identity. I was now the most wanted person on the planet. Every government agency, every corporate security force, every organization implicated in the archive would be hunting me. I was a ghost, a digital phantom with no records, no money, no identity, but I was also the one who held the key. I had the full, unredacted copy of the archive's data on a drive I'd managed to copy at the terminal. I looked down the long, dark tunnel. My old life was gone, erased. But a new one, a dangerous and uncertain one, had just begun. I had to keep moving, to stay ahead of the hunters, and to figure out who was really behind the archive. Alex's final message wasn't just a warning. It was a mission, my mission. The sirens were getting louder. I pulled up my hood and disappeared into the shadows of the city, not as a victim, but as a threat. They started this, I would finish it. Thanks for watching. If you're as curious as I am about what happens next, make sure to follow. You won't want to miss it.